Welcome back, everybody, to our continuing adventures on the Let's Defend platform. We are again continuing underneath Incident Responder, and we are going to tackle the SOC151 Unauthorized Root Access, EventID 99, type Unauthorized Access for August 30th, 2021 at 10:11 a.m. Mouthful. Okay, so it looks like it's the L1 node. When I check with netstat, I see an active connection to port 4242 of 220.134.199.169. It's on PublicServer. Okay. So first things first, we will run through. I did do a little bit of setup. That's about as far as I went, though. So apparently the 220 IP address is Taiwan. Talos gives it pretty much an unknown. Alien Vault has it down as a scanner. IBM X-Force has it primarily as unsuspicious with no known applications. Looks like it was dynamic IPs, but they did have a SPAT. November of 2020. Looks like most of 2020, 2021. Combination of bots and scanning IPs. And according to Virus Total, that's 4 hits for malicious / malware. Dumping through log management, we see exactly what they're seeing, so this is running through the corporate firewall. And unfortunately, raw log is undefined, so it's not going to be as easy as peeking in to see as to what's going on. Endpoint. It was PublicServer, right? That'd be kind of honked off if I'm barking up the wrong tree. Yeah, that's it. The IP address matches. Okay. So let's see. There is no browsing history. That matches on the 30th of August. Command history. I don't even have to bother to look. That's most of everything that's here. That's the 3rd. So make directory notes, CD notes, uname A, and then we hit to this. So cat, etc. asterisk dash release 2 to dev null, cat etc shadow, print working directory, cd root, nano shell.py, which python, python double dash version, which perl, nano shell.sh, chmod plus x shell.sh, print working directory, nano shell.sh, cron tab e, reboot. So we're going to take a look at reboot. Yeah, the what, 1980s, 1990s animation that I think started in Canada that was about what happens inside of a computer. I remember it fondly. No, we're going to take a look at cron tab and see if we can take a look at this shell.sh to try to get some sort of idea as to what's going on there. So we'll file that away. Network connections, hooray! And the only thing we have is just that one for 1011 going to our 220 IP address in Taiwan. I don't suppose there's anything there that would be like the 29th. Doesn't really look like it, but I could have gone past it. Process list. Python, systemctl, mysqld, polkit-d, snapd, shell.sh. So /root.shell.sh. Okay. Go ahead, denote that down here in the notes off to the side, because we're gonna go take a look at that. See what shakes out from that. And not much else that tells me anything. Okay, so we can't really do much of anything else. So let's get the connection going and we'll go from there. And of course the obligatory, wait, no, it's not, wait. Big deep breath in, slow breath out. Oh. Okay. Pretty strong coffee. I like it. It's still morning as I'm recording this, so of course being in IT, I mean coffee's any time of day. Or White Monsters, or what is it, Gamer Sup? I think it's something else that's floated about, or just any energy drink technically. Or tea too, let's not leave that one out. It's like it's usually not on the list of things when you think of caffeine or caffeinated beverages, short of like, Mountain Dew and the like. Okay, so we'll go ahead and extend this a couple of hours. Hopefully we won't need a couple of hours like that. And let's get it up so we get the whole screen, hopefully. Hey, look at that. All right. Okay. So I don't suppose that we could just go as simple as sudo cat /root /shell.sh. Oh, user Perl EU socket IP address. Perl EU socket IP address P 4242. So it stands for port. Okay. So this shell.sh is literally just a script out for that. So can we do file, what is it, MD5 sum root shell sh? Oh crap, I forgot. That's the way the interface is. Go back here. Actually, just get me a new duplicate tab. Let's just keep it separate. Have you seen this before? You have not seen this before. Okay. I mean, that's fine. Go ahead and grab this, and I have the web shell that I did in the previous. And we're just going to dump that in there, and we're just going to save this as shell.sh. And we will submit it to VirusTotal, and we will see how many things decide to say this is bad. This is very, very bad. Hopefully it's better than the web shell.php we uploaded on the last exercise. Hopefully. That was what, 5 out of 58 engines detected something? All right then. This is even worse. Cripe. So we got nothing. Absolutely nothing. But nothing at times can be something. So no engines detect this. I don't know if I should be happy about that or extremely concerned. But that's denoted. So we've got all that. Okay, so we've sudo root nano root dot bash underscore history. vi sudo service ssh pip. Oh yeah, cron tab e. And then where we picked up here, so uname, they're dumping the stuff out. Actually, so let's do this. Sudo ls h to root. So there's the shell. Okay. That was the first thing that basically stood out. Let's go take a look at the auth logs. So it's var log. Sudo nano auth.log. Jan 7th. Okay, so this might be the same thing before, is having to unzip the auth.log.2.gz in order to see anything. September 19th. No, we're looking for end of August. Okay. Sudo gzip dash d for decompress auth.log.2.gz. That should spit out. Yes. Yes. July. August 30th. There we go. Okay. Password for Ubuntu changed by root. Accepted password for Analyst. So attempts to reach in from 46, 104, 16, 215. Do they get in though? That's the question. Unable to authenticate. Unable to authenticate. Authentication failure. Here we go. Accepted password for root. Okay, so they were able to sit there and make it. Oops. All right, so let's do this. We're going to grab and copy this. We're going to go back to this. And this is var log auth.log.2. All right, so we now have the original attacker's IP. So we'll go back to Talos, plop that in. Istanbul, Turkey. Poor email rep, but not a bad web rep. Actually, I think I'm just going to go ahead and duplicate Alien Vault. I seem to like the results a lot. Dynamic IPs. And spam there for a little bit. That's back 2019, so can't hold them accountable for that at the time. A little bit too long ago, and of course this comes clean. So it could just be a connection that just hadn't been used before, or something's been freshly popped to use as a pivot. Okay, but I'm fairly certain that's going to be our problem child, as it were. I'll just see if anything else. Yeah, same thing. Accepted password for root from 46.104.16.215 via SSH. So the question is, how did they get the password for root? I mean, there was a couple of failed login attempts, so what was it, something that would have been like on the Rocky list, or just a general scan? See if there's anything else. See if my grep game's gotten any better. We're gonna grep for root and grep for accepted. I copied that thing off to take a look, and that's the one thing that sticks with me. So all we technically have are those two items there. So let's just do this. And the only people that have logged in with root during that time frame. So I think we've got at least them partially dead to rights, at least. Still doesn't explain as to where they got the password for root, but oh. What would be the typical ways? Brute force. I mean, there was only a couple of attempts, so it'd either be kind of crappy password. And it's just basic. Oh, let's do this because we have the IP address. Let's go back and see if anything. Nothing there. How about destination? No? Okay. How about anything going to PublicServer? And the only thing we have from source, I'm assuming, is going to be, yeah, to the 220. Well, it'd be something that would be easily guessable, because it only looks like they tried a few times. Somebody sold them out. System could already be compromised with something that would have grabbed it, could have been reused somewhere. Phishing could have been another aspect, so let's check mailbox. See if there's anything around that time. Okay, okay. Jack at let's defend.io. Admin at let's defend1.io. Is that even a thing? Could have been spoofed. Alright, so the email came in directly at 10 a.m. And it looks like Jack fell for it. Replied back 8 minutes later with the password of admin12. Really? It's like if I just dump that into Google and paste, I mean, is there a... So it is something that like Tenable would check for. So probably any sort of like OpenVAS or anything else like that, if it's checking for default creds, would probably be one of them. Wow. Jack, so disappointed. So disappointed. So Jack needs to go through for some additional phishing training, and somebody is going to have to go through and start doing some where's my list? I've really got to get this stuff better organized. um, DNS twist. So you can run it as Python on your local box, or you can do a couple of different. So dnstwist.it and dnstwister.report. So let's just see if anything actually shakes out from this. Original. Just to be able to go back through and check every so often. Although running the Python locally, you can actually sit there and have it look for anything with an MX record. Because what you end up seeing as you respond to this stuff is that they'll register the domain, they'll get a mail server attached to the domain, but they won't even bother to stand up a web server for it. Somebody doing a subdomain trick. That's defend.net. That's defend.com. And they obviously don't go back to the original. So it could be somebody attempting to imitate. And DNS Twister's still running. Again with the subdomain. Does that match 150 or 135? Yeah, Canada. Although that looks like that's more German, but gotta love trying to sit there and put together GeoIP databases. But so quick and dirty check to see as to whether or not, but we don't have anything that actually matched. So, of course, probably have to go back to August in a time machine to see as to whether or not any of that stuff was actually there. What was, thought there was something that allowed you to go back and take a look. Was it the passive total or something? I'm looking on a different screen that's not being captured. Risk IQ for the community? The question is, do my creds actually still work since I set it up with an old work account? Apparently. I just can't get locked out because... Oh, okay, here we go. What was the domain from that? I don't know, I'm probably going above and beyond in regards to any of this stuff. Let's defend one. Never seen, never last seen, no ID on registrar or registrant. But nothing in there in regards to no resolutions, no certs. Yeah, so it's Brisk IQ, the community edition. Nothing. So kind of a waste. But so Jack needs to go through and have phishing training. We need to just automatically go through and make sure that the mail system rejects anything from Let's Defend 1.io, and we need to have a weekly, monthly, some sort of check with DNS Twist to go through and see what else we can shake out to be a little bit more proactive. Or maybe take every rendition that it comes up with and basically just add it to a block list depending. But so okay, Jack gave this up. So since he gave it up, we'll have to keep that in mind for later. So then but then how did they get it wrong? Maybe they didn't think that it was right? They're successful logins. When was that according to the auth log? 10/11. So if we go back, it was failed attempts before 10/11. So they were still trying to go through and hit it. Okay, well. Congrats. Okay, let's look, the other thing. Wasn't the reboot, the cron tab that we talked about. Hello. Add reboot / to basically bring it back up, which is exactly why. There. We remediated. Let's just make sure it's good to go. So we need to push for phishing training. We need stronger passwords, especially for the root account. Or to move past passwords and go to certs. The checking for phishing domains or lookalikes to the Let's Defend.io. We'll see what else comes up. Back into here. Yeah, I mean, that's realistically it right there. Because there was not a, oops, there was not a shell, right? .py? No, just a shell.sh. Okay, we might have everything we need then. Sorry. Responding to a message out of band. Okay, I mean, we have an explanation as to why. We know exactly what happened in regards to, okay, how did they get in as root and how they established persistence. I think we're ready to rock and roll. I mean, because that was what we were looking for, was that shell, right? So we knock that out. Oh, what was it? Crap. I had written it down. It was, that's what I used in the last exercise. The EventID 102. I guess it's a good thing. Yeah. So sudo lsof I p n. And we're looking for anything else to continue on for 4242 or going to 220. Which I'm not seeing. If we do netstat now, nothing. And then let's do, just to make sure, do we have anything netstat that's gripping? And we'll grep for the IP address, just to make sure that I'm not screwing that up. Okay, I think it's gone. Hooray! Scroll the console up. Let's just see if anything that stands out. Notify, blah 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 blah. Nope. Okay. I think we're good. We can consider it compromised because there was a back door, so we're just going to go ahead and do request containment. Just have that out of the way. And we'll go ahead and we will take ownership. We'll go ahead and create a case. Start the playbook. We've done that. We verified that it is. This is a true positive. Incident response flow. Define threat actor. Increase logins. Well, multiple login failures to that then become a successful login as root. And then basically a outgoing connection to 220.134.199.169 via port 4242. Source IPs. The one that logged in originally, 46.104.16.215, and then the outgoing connection to 220. It is an external network. Well, no, that entirely depends. Because if we do the 220, that one was denoted as being malicious according to virus total. and it's an alien vault. So which IP am I checking the reputation of? That's kind of the problem in regards to this, because we've got one, the one that logged in as root 46.104.16.215 that technically doesn't have any sort of reputation of being malicious. Some spam back in 2019, but nothing terrible. Whereas when you take a look at the one where it was actually going out to, I mean, you've got stuff, mid or early to late of 2021, so last year, and it's basically related as scanner attack, or at least tagged as inside of Alien Vault. I'm assuming that it's going to be the 220. I'm going to say malicious. Detect all devices affected by the cyber attack. Well, it should only be this one. But what we can do is let's open up log management. And let's just verify. We'll set the source address as the 46.104. Let's make sure. No, it's all the way through. Destination, anything else in there? No. And we've already gone through back and forth for the 220. So it's a singular system. Destination ports. Is there anything else using 4242? All the same. So if we go source port, anything 4242, negative. Okay. Oh, it's because it's everything put together like that. Okay. I mean, realistically, the only thing that's in here that affects that system is what? The 4242. So, okay. Yes, I think we've got pretty much, has a critical system been affected? Well, this is what, PublicServer, so I'm assuming this is the one that is directly connected to the internet that probably would host. Website? Maybe? Okay, fine. CD var. I mean, mail, but I'm not seeing HTML. So I might be barking up the wrong tree in regards to that. Yeah, var, and it should be www, but www doesn't exist. Huh. But again, is it critical? I mean, somebody could sit there, if they own it, just basically stand up a web server. Again, this is the problem. We don't really have a full inventory of what's considered critical and what's not. I mean, I don't know what PublicServer does. I don't know what Tomcat server does. I don't know what Node server does. I don't know what LD Web does or Public Apache. I mean, I can guess, but and as to whether or not if they would be considered critical. I mean, root password, anything else that would be on there. Again, I'm taking a guess. It needs to be isolated. It's already done. authentication. Well, we kind of went through and we knocked out the shell, but we'll have to force the password change. But again, I don't know if sensitive data would be considered compromised. I mean, they did sit there and pop out the shadow as root to go through and do cat etc shadow. Don't know. Okay, so how'd the cyber attack happen? John got phished, gave out the root password for PublicServer. The attackers came in from SSH'd in from 46.104.16.215 over SSH. They screwed around a little bit, established persistence with a root.shell or shell.sh inside the root directory. That would and then added it in the cron tab to basically do a connection to 220.134.199.169 via port 4242. How about the staff and management perform in dealing with the incident? Well, probably about as well as I did. I mean, it's the problem. It's PublicServer. So the question is, I mean, we don't have any sort of indication of any other traffic going to 220 or anything that would use port 4242 unless it's somebody's on there playing a mud. So I guess basically sit there and immediately lock down the server, quarantine it. Probably would have been a better thing to do as opposed to just before reaching out. Of course, that comes down to the whole aspect. Okay, you jump the gun one too many times, and you're going to have standing orders not to do anything like that anymore, when it could actually save you. Staff and management do differently next time similar incidents occurs. Not fall for phishing. Maybe make it easier to report potential phishing, to have it checked by SOC. I mean, there are any number of things that do it. Like No Before has theirs. Like a phishing button inside of Outlook. I think it ties into a bunch of the other platforms as well. I think that's a fairly common thing now. Corrective Actions, phishing training, something in place to do DNS twists for lookalike domains. Try to sit there and get ahead of phishing, or go through and do every potential permutation DNS twist comes up with and add it to a block list for the mail server. Puppy is not happy. Puppy's still warming up to house guests, since this is just basically continued recording after I did the event 102. So, cursors or indicators watched for lookalike domains and email. Corrective actions. Yeah, not having crappy root passwords. Basically abandoning passwords entirely for root and just switching off to certificates for SSH logins. Artifacts. Okay, so we have... Actually, we got a couple of things, don't we? We got a URL. We have... No. We have an email sender. We have an email domain. We have an MD5. We have two IPs. So email sender is admin at let's defend one. Credfisher, email domain. Credfisher domain. And we have the shell.sh /root/shell.sh backdoor. Perl backdoor. Okay. Because the other aspect would be basically if you don't have anybody logging in or should be SSHing in any of your boxes from Turkey, block the entire range. Block the country. Not having anybody from Russia or don't have anybody from Russia it should be jumping in, block it. China, block it. Israel, block it. The entire African continent, block it all. Why not? If everybody's just US based, and then basically enforce the use of corporate VPNs. Of course, if they go overseas, yeah, I guess that's kind of the point too. VPNs with MFA. Okay, so this is the people who did the root login, and this is the backdoor. Backdoor over port 4242. Okay. Yeah, I think that's about it. So Jack fell for crit phishing from a look-alike domain. And gave root password admin123. Into public server as root from there. So still have to go through and remove the shell.sh from the root account. Well, you could actually go through and do that. So it's what? Sudo rm /root shell.sh. Yes, maybe. I have to try to remember. Lisa NH for the full thing. Okay, it's gone. and you've commented it out. So you can denote that in there as well. Comment it out and /root shell.sh has been deleted. Finish playbook. It's the whole aspect of not having any idea about, feel for the crit phishing. I swear English is my primary language. Actually, no, I take that back. Bad English is my primary language. Oh. True positive? Yes, because it's definitely not a false positive. They done did fucked up. Or crap. Oh well, I mean, it's almost 52 minutes in. If Google's gonna sit there and slap my hand, then they're gonna do it. I can't do much about it now. I said it. Gotta own it. So, how bad? Check IP reputation. That could be the aspect that could be, or need to be cleaned up more, or improved upon, I think. I mean, because we've got two. So, was it the fact that, I mean, what source, too, are they making the portion? Whew, okay, that's done. Oh, small coughing fit. But, so that's kind of the other aspect. So I should start a section of notes here. Check IP rep needs to be clearer. But apparently I got it right for being seeing a critical system affected, even though I have no idea how they're coming to that conclusion. So, how to determine if critical system. What was the other thing? What determines if sensitive data is at risk? Okay, so got a couple of notes to go back with. Does the IP address belong to, okay, I mean, that's simple enough. Okay, so I think those are the only things that really draw this out. So it's SOC151 EventID 99, just so I can give that to my contacts at Let's Defend. Because obviously, I mean, this should all prove it for everybody, right? At least that's what I'm shooting for. By the end of the day, I mean, as much as I hate to say it, I care about my point score. At the same time, I don't. I mean, this is, can I learn this stuff? Can I get it stuck in here? And when I really need it, can I pull it back up? And so far, I mean, I think it's just going fairly well for the aspect of the fact that I really don't have to sit there and do IR on Linux boxes all that often. It's usually always Windows boxes. I mean, go figure, right? With the malware problems. But so that's it. I gotta get these notes put together. Everything else, but I'll get this put together. This should go out and be scheduled for release. I guess it would kind of help if I click the right icon on the Windows box. I should go with the 12th, so I'll at least have a little bit of a week to go through, since last video I did should go out today, the 7th, to make up for not having a video out on the 5th due to not feeling that well. So, yeah, I think that's about it. So this has been SOC151, or Unauthorized Root Access, EventID 99 for August 30th, 2021. God, it still seems odd to say. I still want to say that for some reason. 10:11 a.m. With all that being said, I will see. Okay, it's only going forward from here into September and then August. So nothing for November, December. It's okay though. I have plenty of stuff to go through and still do. I'm actually kind of salivating at the aspect of the ZBot application because I'm hoping there's going to be another Windows box. But we'll see. One thing at a time. Gotta sit there and go through all the stuff for September and work our way up. But this was the oldest one that was still here, so I'm like, yeah, let's get this out of the way. But so that's it. With that all being said, I'll see everybody in the next video.